Welcome everybody to the next episode of KapVista Klips. Today we have Andrew from Fusion. How are you?
I'm excellent, thanks. Going well, thanks, Daniel.
Uh, I'm excited to get into Fusion because it's two companies, two opportunities coming together. That's really exciting. But before we jump into what Fusion is doing, what I like to do and what I think sets these interviews apart is that we get to understand the personality aspect behind the pitch deck. We get to understand who the team is, what their experiences are, their story. So, if we can start, tell us about you and tell us about the team and their expertise and how they got to this point.
I grew up on a cropping and grazing property. Not the normal sort of process, cutting edge, all sorts of things. I've always been looking for something different to do. I set up a corporatised agribusiness back in the late 80s, early 90s that was across 4 states with 8 enterprises. The investors who were overseas and high net worths decided they wanted to exit. We left there, and for the last 20 years, thereabout, I've been involved in business development for businesses who are, they're looking to grow, be it internally with debt or with joint ventures, other sorts of agreements, be it debt or equity, involved in chairing advisory boards, non-executive director in some that we've invested into, been involved in software development. And over that time, probably the last 20 years, probably 300 or 400 businesses I've had some insights and developing into as to how they grow and why they fail and what part of success looks like. But all the way along on the backside of that has been, what are the inputs into farm production businesses and what ends up on your fork that you put in your mouth? And that's been a passion of mine, and it's a passion of the other guys in the business. There's 3 others in the business as well. Alan grew up in a cropping grazing business, as family farm as well, and became an agronomist. He set up the pyrethrum business industry here in Victoria, and it was so successful they had to shut it down because they couldn't keep up with the production. Which was an interesting insight, is that not much point producing a product if you haven't got an in market. He's a grain and hay trader and been involved in plant and soil nutrition for 20 odd years as well across 3 states. Peter's the microgreens side of the business. He originally grew up in a Greek restaurant business and travelled the world as a chef through Europe, came back to Australia, did a bit more, and then ran $500,000 bird poultry business for a number of years. Got out of that and then has been producing microgreens for 7 years. John, an interesting character, has been involved in remote agriculture in Western Queensland. He was involved with international tourism, his family business of meat processing, and has been involved in sports management as well before starting his garlic business 10 years ago. So collectively, there's a very broad range of skills and understanding about food production, but why people buy and what they're looking for and how that market has shifted really very much since COVID. It's been an interesting way of looking at it. But passionate group of guys. I'm the common denominator in the sense that there were 2 businesses. I was involved with both of them. And then through some discussions, we realised there was a real synergy between the 2 and what we could benefit for both businesses from the skill set, but also the production and marketing and a low impact value adding system that we've developed.
Okay, brilliant. So we'll get into Fusion itself, but talk about the 2 underlying opportunities and how it's coming together, so our audience can understand. Well, what is Fusion? What does that mean, and what does it entail? Because there's essentially 2 businesses that are being merged, brought together. They're both operating businesses. They're both growing really. So tell us about that.
Okay, the certified garlic side of the business is an interesting one, and the challenge for garlic growing is that 25% of this year's crops are required for the seed for next year. So it's not like many ag businesses where you can scale very quickly, and it's become restrictive in a way. So the market is about the hobby farmers, the small growers who go to farmers markets, and then at the other end, you've got the major suppliers going direct to the supermarket. So there's a middle ground that isn't being met, that people are demanding a product of quality, but they can't get it. And so they're frustrated, so they begin importing. The microgreens business, similarly, many of the microgreens businesses are hydroponics, indoor, artificial light, whereas this business is soil grown, rainwater, and sunlight. And production is nearly double what the hydroponic system is, and businesses in the food service sector are coming saying top quality, top colour, top flavour, and the shelf life's longer. And we want to buy 10 times our current order. Can't supply you. When will you? And so my associated with both businesses said, what's next for them? How do they actually fund their growth to meet the demand? And how do the customers see value? From out of our work and some of the research I've been doing, the critical market for these two businesses is about food trust. We don't visibly see it. About $60 billion worth of wine is fake in the world trade. You don't know what's in the label is not what's inside the glass or the package. In Australia, excluding or including wine, it's costing us in excess of $3 billion in contamination and substitution. So part of what the market has been saying to us is we trust your business and what you do and grow. So we're looking at how can we take that to the next level. So they're both certified organic. We're looking at high nutritional testing. So we're saying, okay, what's really in the package that you're buying? Where's the proof of provenance? Where was it actually grown? How was it actually grown? Can you prove that? Is it somebody independent that can verify for us that you're doing as you say? And so also transparent production systems. And so while they've been growing separately, there's been, as an outsider in both businesses originally, there was, okay, you're both doing the same things for the same outcomes with the same benefits, and then the value adding that can take place, hey, that's the same stuff. And the end market for the value adding is similar and it's at a higher value. Why aren't we working together? And so that's what brought everybody together from that perspective. The micro, yeah, I really struggled growing up on a broadacre grain property where we talk tonnes per hectare. Garlic is kilograms per metre of row, and microgreens is grams per square metre. And you sort of, how do I get my head around doing the numbers and making this work from a scalability perspective? And so the microgreens are growing a crop every 7, 21, 14 or 21 days, whereas the garlic's an annual crop. So we've got two complementary businesses, higher cash flow, higher capital appreciation with the crop as we're expanding the garlic. So again, a very complementary process from an investor perspective, very complementary from funding and cash flowing the collaboration of the businesses as well. From a volume within garlic, we import about 89% of the garlic that's consumed. Sadly, a large proportion of that is not what you're buying in the jar or the packet. It's suspect production or contaminated with foreign products that are hidden in what you're buying. The microgreens business is a hobby side of things or internally grown. And yeah, really find my head difficult is we're going to be reaching sort of 50 million grams or 50 tonnes of microgreens a year being produced out of the new facility. And yet we can't keep up. That won't meet demand. So let's use that as the first stage because there's more to come.
Okay. So this is an exciting opportunity. Anybody who is passionate about agriculture and can understand that there's always going to be an increased demand. And like you said, the quality and making sure you know where your produce is coming from. If you look at the big supermarkets, they promote that everything is Australian grown and everything they supply, it's they know where it's coming from, which is fantastic, and it's being driven by the bigger players, and that's probably coming back from the consumer sentiment that they want to know where their produce is coming from, that it is that they're buying what they say they're buying, right? So you're in a space that the demand is there, and the demand is growing, and like you said, that your buyers are demanding you increase production. They want more. They want more. They want more. So from an investor's point of view, that's attractive. That not only is the consumer segment and the voice of the consumer saying that they agree with what you're doing, that the people buying it from you, they want more, that you're producing. So it's an interesting proposition, and the fact that you're merging two businesses that complement each other, that aren't falling into the same sort of with agriculture, especially like the garlic business, that it's very, it takes a year to achieve revenues, because you've got to grow it 12 months in advance, that you're complementing both, so you're reducing the cash flow risks, which is interesting. So tell me about the raise, and then what's it being used for? What does the next 12 months look like if you were to successfully raise today?
Expansion, obviously. The microgreens, flowers, herbs business, we're looking at acquiring a property, building a greenfields infrastructure there, designing to, we only found out yesterday, which was through a spanner in the works, that we've got somebody who'll take the whole lot. We haven't even gone to market. And Peter was talking to him about something and expanding. And he said, well, whatever you're going to produce, I'll take whatever you can grow. And he said, oh, we're talking serious numbers. We can take whatever you can grow. Don't worry about it. So that's the major, that's about 41% of our raise. 38% or thereabouts goes into equipment and fit outs for that, and the value adding system. And the remaining 20%, 21% is about operations systems, IP protection, putting together some of the Industry 4 components that we're using as part of managing the businesses better and verifying a whole heap of processes. The microgreens business, we just did some calcs a couple of months ago that said we're going to produce something like 500 million data points of information. What are we going to do with it? Okay, so we're now talking to somebody in the AI sector saying, okay, yeah, we can analyze it. What do you want from it? How can you make better decisions? Similarly, but in a different scale, the same with the garlic operation as well. So yeah, some robotics coming in. So it's not just, if you like, people see organic ag as going back in history and time to doing something traditionally in the past. We've dragged that into the present, but we're also dragging in new technology to take that to people to gain better understanding of what we're doing. Go and buy your product, scan the codes, see who's grown it, where is it grown in, which state of Australia, whose farm, what did they produce, and learn a little bit about the product that's in the pack. And that's our differentiation, really, about that. We're independently certifying DNA as to where crops are grown, so that, I've had clients who've had food substituted with brilliant packaging in overseas markets, and they haven't even started harvesting their crop, and it's for sale. How do you prove that's not your product? And things like that. It's really, it's an exciting space. It's a frustrating space. And customers, although at the moment we're all talking about cost of living, there's a change in the way people are looking at what they consume. It's not just to fill themselves up with bulk stuff. It's about how do I maintain my health and my integrity.
Mm.
And so, yeah, that's part of, as I said, the food trust aspect.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so what's the number that you are raising? And then can you share some of the milestones about the businesses themselves? So, the growth figures, the revenues, that sort of thing.
Okay, we'll go to microgreens. It's unique. It's the only certified microgreen producer in Australia. It's soil grown. It's using rainwater and it's using sunlight. So there's no unnatural products. Production compared to the industry standards is nearly double. And even so, we still can't keep up with the production. So, yeah, it's a challenging space, and the frustration of phone calls constantly coming in. We want this. I want to double my order. No, I'll have 4 times that this week and 10 times in 6 weeks' time, please. Can't do it. How do we get over that? I was involved. We had 2 chances at taking out other businesses, and they fell over for various reasons. And so we decided, rather than taking over an existing legacy issue, let's build something that's really fit for purpose, because we're looking at them going on in one aspect from that into the bioceutical space. So we need to make sure that our QA systems, our biosecurity for that whole facility when we build it, has to meet those medical type standards. The garlic side of it is, how do we grow it? I mean, we could sell 250, 500 tons of it tomorrow, but how do we scale to that at a sensible pace, but at the same time still maintain the integrity? So we're not buying property. In that business, we're engaging with existing horticultural businesses. Here's the recipe. We'll monitor it. We'll look after it. We'll guarantee you a product sale at the end of your time growing for us. So, yes, different systems, different options as to where we go, but both of them are now going to be looking at doing the value-adding side of the business will be in one facility, because they both use the same technologies and techniques that we've developed to take that to the market, food market for a start, before we've got some more R&D yet to do for the production for the bioceuticals, and engaging with a few international companies as to what we can do for them. And that goes back to, we've got all this proof of how we do things, how we grow things, what the nutritional profile is. Alan and I looked at one stage at a new horticultural crop, and we thought, it's only going to be available for 4 weeks. We're going to flood the market. No point. Can we freeze it? Loss of nutrition. What if we juice it? Oh, even more loss of nutrition. What if we powder it? Oh, it's just coloured, flavoured. It's got nothing in it.
Yeah.
And that was the driver from our perspective, that we looked at what's going on. And so I went overseas, did a couple of trips, looked at what the market was doing with some of that technology, finding out where international markets were at and why they were choosing products. And we were blind taste testing products from 7 countries to see what the difference was, and what the flavour profiles were. And it's like wine. I mean, you can grow the same variety of wine plant in different locations, you get a different outcome. And what does the market want from that is no different than either garlic or microgreens as well. So the flowers interest me in the sense that I could give you a flower, close your eyes, taste this, and you would taste another plant that is totally unrelated. It's a fruit, but you're tasting a plant. So we're looking at flavour, natural flavour profiles that we can produce for people in a similar way, at a similar value to something like saffron, what the market's paying for there. So, yeah, exciting for the growth side of things, yeah.
Okay, brilliant. And then, finally, how much are you raising?
We're looking for 10 million for around 70% of the business. It's a different process from that perspective. Some people in the past, we were nearly engaged pre-COVID, and our investors have now gone into the 50, 100 million market. We had one bloke came back and said, look, I'll give you 25 million. I said, we can't really do you justice because we can waste the money, we can't invest it wisely. So we're back in the market, having now reconfigured the business model, the growth model, and the market model to create a de-risked, better de-risked process, I suppose you could look at it. And we're really excited about where we're going and what the potential is, without, again, going to the market saying, hey, you haven't heard of us before, but here's what's going on.
Yeah. Okay.
And,
awesome. Awesome. Well, I'll leave it there. I won't take up too much more of your time, but this is an exciting opportunity for anybody who's interested in the ag tech space. If you have watched this video and you want to find out more, I'll put the details below, and I can connect you directly to Andrew, and he'll be able to walk you through the opportunity, and you can meet the team behind this business. But again, I'll put the details for the opportunity below. You can head to our website to find out more. But thank you very much for jumping on with us, Andrew. It was great to chat. I'm excited to see where this is, where this goes. Agriculture is something that's going to be around forever, as the population increases. The demand is always going to be there. So it's an exciting business. Without agriculture, without farmers, the world stops.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Pleasure.
Thank you very much. It's good to chat.